At Roosevelt High School in Seattle, everything about my high school life had been a blur of average grades, half-hearted assignments, and the occasional desperate glance at someone else's test paper. That is until one reckless round of copying landed me in the honors class, the elite section every ambitious student dreamed about, and every parent bragged about at family gatherings. For one brief shining moment, my parents thought I was a prodigy. My father even opened a bottle of vintage wine he had been saving for decades, and my mother strutted around the neighborhood like she had just raised a future Harvard graduate. They had no idea the truth was that their daughter had simply sat in the right seat at the right time, her eyes glued to the perfect exam paper of Ryan Miller. Ryan Miller, the golden boy of Roosevelt High, was everything I was not. He was sharp disciplined, impossibly calm under pressure, and destined for Ivy League acceptance letters stacked like mailers in his kitchen. I, on the other hand, was Emma Carter, a girl who could memorize TikTok dances faster than algebra formulas, and whose record for lowest test score in sophomore year still circulated as gossip. We had been compared since childhood. Our parents lived in the same suburb, attended the same PTA meetings, and used us as measuring sticks. Ryan was the polished yardstick of perfection, and I was the bent ruler people laughed at. When the placement exam revealed my true ability, I could almost hear the guillotine blade falling. Mr. Anderson, the teacher who treated honors like a sacred temple, slammed his hand on the desk and declared, "Scores under 600 prove you do not belong here. We cannot waste time on the unprepared. This class is for excellence only." His eyes swept across the room and landed on me. I swear, my heart dropped straight through the floor tiles. I could already imagine my mother's shrieks and my father's bitter disappointment if they discovered their so-called honors girl was just a fraud trembling in the back row. In a panic, I made a decision that was equal parts insane and desperate. If Ryan Miller was the one who had unknowingly carried me into this mess, then maybe he could also save me from drowning. So, after class, when the hallway emptied and sunlight spilled across the lockers, I blurted it out. "Ryan Miller, I've liked you for a long time." My voice shook. My palms were sweaty, and I was ready to pass out from humiliation. Ryan, the eternal calm, simply adjusted his thin, golden-rimmed glasses and said, "Oh, then let's see how serious you are." That was the beginning of my personal nightmare and salvation all at once. He dragged me into what felt like boot camp disguised as tutoring sessions. Every evening we sat with stacks of practice tests, the fluorescent lights humming above us. Ryan's rule was simple, almost cruel. For every wrong answer I gave, I owed him a kiss. At first, I thought he was joking, the kind of sarcastic jab geniuses threw at failures like me. But he was dead serious. The first time my pencil wavered and my answer missed the mark, he leaned in, brushing his lips against mine with a casual certainty that made my entire brain short-circuit. One wrong, one kiss. He reminded me softly, his voice so steady, it was maddening. By the 10th mistake, my lungs felt like they were caving in, and when I finally got a problem right, he smirked and kissed me anyway. That was a reward, he said, as if that explained everything. I hated him, and I wanted to cry, but I also felt a strange surge of determination. If I wanted to breathe again, if I wanted to escape this relentless cycle of punishment and reward, I had to learn. And for the first time in my life, I studied like someone whose future depended on it because it did. Still, every day in class was a battlefield. Mr. Anderson paced like a drill sergeant, reminding us that honors was survival of the fittest. "The weak will be eliminated," he thundered, "because mediocrity has no place here." His words stabbed at me like arrows, and his gaze found me as if he already had my name on the expulsion list. Beside me sat Chloe Johnson, my desk partner and longtime nemesis. She was only 1 point ahead of me on the last exam, but she carried herself like a queen and never wasted an opportunity to remind me how precarious my position was. Mr. Anderson looked at the two of us with disappointment, as though our very existence threatened the honor of the honors class. Then came the seating change. A new proposal circulated: top students should pair with those at the bottom to drag the weak upward through proximity, which meant that Ryan Miller, the undisputed number one, would now sit beside me, the absolute disgrace of the ranking board. My entire body went cold. To sit next to him in public was worse than private tutoring punishments. The whole class watched as Mr. Anderson announced Ryan helped the new student. "This will test your patience as well." Ryan tilted his head, his glasses catching the light, and smiled with infuriating ease. "I'm used to it," he said, his tone so effortlessly superior it made my blood boil. My glare could have set fire to the chalkboard. "Fake," I muttered under my breath. It was not as if this rivalry was new. We had been neighbors, almost siblings in the eyes of the community compared since we were toddlers. He was obedient, I was rebellious. He grasped concepts instantly. I forgot them 5 minutes later. He racked up medals, I collected detention slips. My mother had one refrain she never tired of repeating: "Emma, look at Ryan Miller and learn from him." Those words haunted my childhood, like a funeral bell tolling again and again, until I believed them more than my own thoughts. So there we were, side by side once again. In math class, my brain felt roasted, my soul leaving my body with every theorem. Meanwhile, Ryan sat tall writing with that precise flowing handwriting that looked like it belonged in a textbook. His hand shot up to answer questions while mine clutched the desk like a lifeline. Watching him, I felt both crushed and strangely electrified, as if the universe had tied me to my greatest enemy and dared me to sink or swim. The truth was undeniable. I had cheated my way into honors, but now I was paying the price. Each glance at Ryan reminded me that brilliance was within reach, yet galaxies away. Each smirk of his fueled my determination not to be the class joke, not to be the girl whose parents bragged on false pretenses. I wanted to rise even if it killed me, even if it meant surviving Ryan's merciless kisses and Mr. Anderson's piercing glares. And so my story in the honors class began not as a tale of triumph, but as a desperate attempt to hide the cracks in my facade. Every page of notes, every late-night tutoring session, every whisper of Ryan's low voice when he leaned too close, all of it fused into a storm I could not escape. I was Emma Carter, the accidental honor student, the girl who declared love to her academic rival just to survive, and somehow against all odds, this reckless gamble had changed everything. The moment Ryan Miller offered his solution, even Mr. Anderson had to pause, his stern expression softening into something almost comical. He nodded, impressed. "Excellent work, Ryan." I did not even consider that approach, he admitted, and the whole class murmured in awe. It was always like this. Ryan came up with brilliance as naturally as breathing, while the rest of us sat stunned, struggling to catch up. When the bell rang, the adrenaline drained out of me all at once. I collapsed onto my desk like a wrung-out rag. My brain felt scorched. Emma. A familiar voice called from the back door. I lifted my head and saw my best friend waving with enough excitement to power a small city. I bolted out of the classroom like I had just been pardoned from a life sentence. So, tell me everything. Being in honors must feel like bathing in holy light. Every day your IQ must have skyrocketed by now. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity, a gossip spirit burning bright inside her. I rolled my eyes and slumped against the lockers. It feels like I am dying. We have another placement test next week. I am certain I will fail, and once I do, I will be kicked out. My mother will break my legs, my father will add commentary, and my obituary will be written by the PTA. She tapped her chin thoughtfully. Well, you could sneak into Mr. Anderson's office and steal the answer sheet. I stared at her in disbelief. Great, so I get expelled and arrested. Perfect plan. She smacked me on the forehead. Idiot! The answer key is sitting right next to you. Ryan Miller. Why not ask him to tutor you? Are you insane? I snapped. Did you forget what happened last time? Remember the homecoming queen from the next class who asked him a physics question? He looked her dead in the eye and told her to relearn everything starting from sophomore year. Do you want me to suffer the same humiliation? My friend's grin widened like she had been waiting for this. That is why I have the perfect plan. Listen closely. She lowered her voice as if sharing state secrets. Confess to him. What? Confess to Ryan Miller, she repeated, counting her points on her fingers like a general laying out a battle strategy. Scenario 1, he accepts. Congratulations, you now have a boyfriend who is contractually obligated to tutor his girlfriend. Scenario 2, he rejects you. Fine. He still feels guilty because you grew up together. Then you bat your lashes, ask for help, and he cannot refuse. I blinked. That makes zero sense. It makes perfect sense. It is called putting yourself in a desperate situation, so you fight harder. Think of it as survival instinct. She smacked my shoulder with the enthusiasm of a coach. Do it for your family. Think of your mother's feather duster and your father's leather belt. Do you want to face those weapons? I shuddered. You are ridiculous. Not done yet. She leaned closer, whispering with dramatic flair. Rumor has it, Ryan has never dated anyone. Who knows, maybe he secretly likes you. Please, I rolled my eyes. The only things Ryan Miller has ever loved are prep books and advanced calculus. Last semester, the most popular girl in school confessed to him. Do you know what he said? Sorry, I do not date anyone below a 700 SAT math score. One sentence, and she cried for a week. Still as absurd as my friend sounded, a sliver of possibility crept into my chest. Maybe, just maybe this gamble could work. My back was against the wall, and there was nowhere left to run. Fine, I muttered through gritted teeth. I will do it. It is just a confession. Worst case, I make a fool of myself. Yes. My friend smacked my back so hard I nearly fell. Channel the energy you use when chasing your favorite idol with 3 million followers. Remember, eyes sincere, voice heartfelt, posture confident. The entire organization is counting on you. Dragging my feet. I returned to the classroom. Ryan was sitting at his desk, sunlight pouring through the window, illuminating one side of his face. His jawline looked like it had been carved with precision, his expression calm and untouchable. I had to admit the guy was unburly handsome. If only his aura did not scream, "Keep your distance, strangers." I inhaled once, twice. My lungs felt like balloons about to burst. "Ryan Miller," I croaked. His finger froze on the page he was turning. Slowly, he lifted his head, his dark eyes locking onto mine. Before my nerves could betray me, I shut my eyes tight and shouted like I was charging into battle. "I have liked you for a long time, Ryan Miller." The classroom went silent, deadly silent. My ears rang. I slapped my hands over my mouth, but it was too late. The words were out, echoing across the walls. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3. Not a sound. Finally, I cracked one eye open. Ryan's face was unreadable. He studied me with the same detached focus he gave a math problem he already knew the answer to. He set his pen down, removed his glasses, and rubbed his forehead. Then, to my utter shock, the corners of his mouth curved ever so slightly. "Let's give it a try," he said. My brain crashed. This was not the script I had prepared for. He was supposed to laugh or dismiss me or tell me to see a doctor. Try what? What does that even mean? I stammered silently inside my head, my entire system frozen. Regretting it already. His voice was calm, almost teasing, as he slipped his glasses back on. Behind the lenses, his eyes glimmered with something I could not read. "I am not regretting anything," I blurted, though my face burned hotter than the sun. "Good. Then let us try," he said again, his tone final. "Fine," I shot back, forcing steel into my voice. "Let's try. I am not afraid." He stood gathering his books, then glanced back at me with a smile that twisted something deep inside my chest. "Wait for me after class." Suspicion rose immediately. For what? His smile deepened, his gaze unwavering. A date. The single word detonated inside me like fireworks. My legs wobbled, my hands shook. I had dug a hole so enormous I could no longer see daylight, and with those 4 letters, Ryan Miller had shoved me straight in. After class, the room emptied quickly, leaving only Ryan Miller and me. He held up my latest math test, the bold red 88, scrawled across the top, and examined it like it was some alien artifact unearthed from a lab. "Why did you choose B for this one?" His voice was so serious that my stomach clenched. I lowered my head and mumbled, "It just felt right." His gaze sharpened. "Mathematics is not about feelings." He adjusted his glasses, his tone cold but precise. "This is a basic function problem. You should have gotten it right. I will explain it again." Before I could retreat, he leaned closer, close enough that the faint scent of mint from his shirt reached me. It was clean, fresh, sharp enough to make my heart stumble. Instinctively, I drew back, but the space was too small. My focus evaporated. Ryan tapped the paper, firmly pulling me back into the problem. "So what is the correct answer now?" he asked. I stared at the neat steps he had rewritten, my mind suddenly blank. The sound hung in the air. His eyes narrowed, a dangerous glint flashing behind the lenses. Why he pressed? "Guessing will not save you." Heat surged up my neck. Irritation boiled over. So what if I guessed I snapped? In the next instant, he planted one hand on the left side of my desk and the other on the right, caging me in. My breath caught as his shadow fell over me. "Ryan, what? What are you doing?" My voice shook as badly as my hands. He lowered his head slightly, his words a soft command against my ear. "From now on, every wrong answer earns a kiss." My eyes widened in shock. "What?" He smirked faintly. "Count them yourself. It is fair. Fair." My mind screamed. This was not tutoring, it was ambush. He looked every bit the perfect honor student, but inside he was a wolf in a crisp white shirt, pretending righteousness while bending the rules to his advantage. I wanted to hurl every insult I could think of at him, but my throat closed around the words. "You said you liked me. Did you not?" His brows lifted, as if this entire arrangement was the most logical thing in the world. "Kissing your girlfriend hardly seems unreasonable." My cheeks burned. So this was karma, my reckless confession turning into the weapon he used against me. Ryan looked entirely too satisfied with my stunned silence. He picked up his pen calm and collected. "All right, let us start again. I will explain it one more time." This time I forced myself to listen with every nerve. I focused so hard that each number and symbol etched itself into my brain like carvings in stone. I swore to myself that he would not take advantage again. If it meant tying myself to the desk or stabbing my thigh to stay awake, I would learn. "Now apply the method I just showed you," he said, writing a new problem on the paper. I inhaled, my mind spinning as I worked through each step. After 3 intense minutes, I scribbled down the answer. X equals -1. He nodded once, utterly calm. "Correct." Then without warning, he reached out and brushed his hand lightly over my hair, like patting a pet. I exhaled in relief. But before my heart rate settled, he twirled his pen and wrote another problem. "Do this one." The numbers looked familiar. Confidence swelled. "Square root of 2. I said quickly. I did not even finish before his lips pressed against mine, cool and sudden. My entire body froze, then flared hot as my face turned crimson. I shoved at his chest. "Wait! I meant negative square root of 2. I was wrong." Too late. He leaned back, his grin triumphant like he had just captured a prize. Correction noted. "Ryan Miller." "You are impossible," I sputtered, my fists clenched. "One more," he said smoothly, ignoring my outrage. This time I double-checked, triple-checked, pouring every drop of energy into solving it. My pencil trembled as I wrote X equals 1/2. His smile curved slowly, beautifully before he leaned forward again. Only this time his lips brushed my forehead. "I got it right!" I shouted, scandalized. "Why did you kiss me?" That, he murmured, voice low and steady, was a reward. I buried my face in my hands, groaning. He was the worst, the absolute worst. Yet under his relentless and bizarre system, my progress skyrocketed. Terrified of his so-called punishments, I drilled practice problems as if they were flash sales on November 11th, desperate to grab every answer before it disappeared. At home, my mother touched my forehead suspiciously. "Are you running a fever?" "Ever since you sat next to Ryan, all you do is study." She looked both baffled and delighted. "See, that boy has such a positive influence." Outwardly, I smiled sweetly, nodding. Inside, I was screaming. If only she knew the truth that her daughter was being terrorized by the top student, into a life of equations and unexpected kisses. But how could I ever tell anyone about this? I couldn't. I swallowed my humiliation and bit back the tears, stuffing every ounce of frustration deep inside. Each day, I pumped myself full of determination, like a rooster injected with adrenaline, and dove headfirst into practice problems. Being kissed was bad enough, but losing face was worse. And every time I messed up, Ryan Miller's half-smirk told me he had caught me again, as if my mistakes were nothing but opportunities for him to claim another victory. His long fingers tapped lightly against the wrong answer, his eyes gleaming with amusement behind his glasses. Emma. How many times is this now? My chest tightened. How long could this humiliating game continue? To make matters worse, after every kiss he delivered a performance review. Better than last time, he said once only 2 wrong today. Who graded like that? But I couldn't deny it. The method worked. Terrifying as it was, his ridiculous system forced me to memorize trigonometric derivatives until I could recite them like poetry. Even Mr. Anderson was astonished. "Emma Carter," he exclaimed in front of the whole class, "you've transformed." Yet every kiss left me conflicted cheeks, burning with both shame and something I dared not name. I cursed him silently over and over, calling him every name under the sun. And still the ghost of those soft moments lingered on my lips long after. "Snap out of it, Emma," I scolded myself. Once I survived this exam, I would cut ties with Ryan Miller completely. At last, the placement exam arrived. My hands trembled as I scanned the scores posted on the board. My breath caught. Last place, Chloe Johnson, 470 points. Next, Emma Carter, 5 of 60. Not yet at the safe 600 mark, but compared to my pathetic 480, before it was a leap forward. Mr. Anderson looked like he had just witnessed a miracle. Emma up 80 points in 1 month. This is the power of the honors class. He immediately turned to my old homeroom teacher who had come to observe. "Mr. Lee, look at your former student now. Under my guidance, her score soared. Isn't that proof of excellent teaching?" Mr. Lee's smile twitched, and finally he muttered, "Mr. Anderson, you've got spinach in your teeth." The entire class nearly collapsed, trying not to laugh. I stood proud, admiring my score, when suddenly I felt a dagger-like glare drilling into my back. Turning, I met the mournful eyes of my desk partner, Huxley Wang. "Emma Carter, you traitor!" he wailed dramatically, slamming his palm against the desk. "You abandoned our revolutionary friendship." "What are you talking about?" I asked cautiously. "Didn't we promise to rot together at the bottom?" His voice cracked with tragic betrayal. "And now look at you climbing out of the mud while I am left to sink lower alone. You've become a carp leaping over the Dragon Gate, and I am nothing." Huxley Wang was the rich kid whose parents had donated an entire science building just to secure him a seat in honors. Everyone called him a failed experiment. Before I arrived, he had been Mr. Anderson's eternal thorn, but once I joined the class, he clung to me like a fellow soldier in the trenches. To him, I was a savior proof that survival was possible at the bottom. Now that I had improved, he was devastated. I forced a smile. "Maybe you should find a top student to tutor you too." He threw his hands up. "Look around. Do you see anyone in this class willing to waste their time on me?" I bit my lip. He wasn't wrong. Everyone here was obsessed with studying like their lives depended on it. Except me, who had been forced into reform by Ryan Miller's twisted methods. That was why Huxley and I had bonded in the first place. We were both misfits at the bottom partners in rebellion. We passed notes during lectures, snuck snacks under the desks, and escaped gym class to buy bubble tea. We were the rare resistance movement in the honors world. Now he leaned in, eyes gleaming with mischief. "Emma, do you remember our fried chicken alliance?" My eyes lit up. "Of course." He grinned and discreetly pulled his phone from his desk. "I already ordered. Fried chicken and Coke. Same spot as always." My heart fluttered at the temptation. But when my gaze slid sideways, I caught sight of Ryan Miller still reading quietly, his sharp profile illuminated by the sunlight. The thought of his piercing eyes catching me skipping out again made my pulse falter. "No," I whispered quickly. "I haven't finished my homework yet." Huxley stared at me aghast. "Ryan Miller has bewitched you. You used to be the first one out the door when it came to bubble tea runs. What happened to you?" "That was then. This is now," I muttered. Back then, I hadn't known about his deranged one wrong. "One kiss system." I risked another glance. Ryan sat with his head bent, lashes casting faint shadows on his cheek lips pressed in quiet concentration. He looked every inch the perfect, aloof honor student. But I knew better. Behind that facade was a shameless kiss addict masquerading as a gentleman. Huxley Wang nudged me impatiently. "Come on, Emma. Fried chicken tastes terrible when it's cold." I hesitated, battling my conscience for 3 long seconds. In the end, my stomach defeated my brain. "Fine," I whispered, crouching, as I prepared to sneak out. "Emma Carter," Ryan Miller said without even lifting his head. His fingers tapped against the desk, steady, commanding. "Your homework isn't finished." I laughed weakly. "Just going to the restroom." His narrowed gaze made the air heavy. For a moment, I nearly sat back down. But in the end, fried chicken triumphed again. Huxley and I slipped out the back of the building, hiding under the trees like fugitives. He pulled a greasy bag out of the bushes with a triumphant grin. "Here it is. I hid it well. Mr. Anderson will never find it." I reached for the food, my heart racing. And then, like thunder on a sunny day, a voice boomed across the yard. "Huxley Wang." We froze. Huxley shoved the bag into my hands and shouted, "Run!" But it was too late. Mr. Anderson materialized like an avenging spirit and grabbed Huxley by the collar. His eyes bulged. Bringing in outside food again, Huxley squirmed desperately. Sir Emma ate it too. Traitor. I gawked at him in disbelief. Faster than flipping a switch, he had sold me out. Back in the classroom, Mr. Anderson unleashed his fury. "Huxley Wang, every day you cater to your stomach. Your parents donated a building so you could experience honors, not destroy it." Huxley mumbled under his breath. "At least I'm consistent." Then Mr. Anderson's gaze speared me. "Emma Carter, you've improved a little and already grown arrogant. You're still below 600. Do you want to go back to the regular class?" My head bowed instantly. "No, sir." Just when I thought I was doomed, Ryan spoke. "Sir, I ordered the food. I was busy studying, so I asked Emma to pick it up." The room froze. Mr. Anderson blinked then, like a switch flipping, his scowl softened into a benevolent smile. I see. Well, diligent students do need proper nutrition, but fried chicken is unhealthy. Next time, use my cafeteria card for a teacher's meal. Unbelievable. Double standards so blatant it hurt. Mr. Anderson even turned back to me with a twinkle in his eyes. Emma, it's good you help your classmates. Very commendable. Then in the same breath, he spun toward Huxley, his expression icy. You, however, will hand me a 1,000-word reflection by tomorrow. Utterly betrayed. Huxley pulled out his phone and typed furiously. Is there no justice in this world? Why am I the only one suffering? Seconds later, Mr. Anderson commented directly on the post. Caught using your phone. Confiscated. I nearly choked, trying not to laugh. Ryan leaned close, his voice low enough only I could hear. Emma, what punishment do you think liars deserve? My stomach plummeted. I had forgotten the part where I claimed the chicken was mine. By the end of the afternoon, he had kissed me so many times I could barely breathe. Ryan Miller. You're impossible, I gasped. He chuckled his words, brushing my ear. Foolish girl. You should breathe through the other side. After the fried chicken fiasco, Huxley looked at me with a strange mix of betrayal, jealousy, and grim determination. Part wounded comrade, part bitter rival, and part sworn enemy of whatever existed between me and Ryan. One afternoon, he crept up behind me while I was buried in equations. Emma want to play a match of league. I just bought a new skin 3 stars gorgeous. My hand wavered on my pencil. Temptation tugged at me. But out of the corner of my eye, Ryan tapped his fingers steadily against the desk, his silent reminder, 1 wrong, 1 kiss. My throat went dry. No, I have to study. Huxley stared at me like I had been brainwashed. The truth was my lips still tingled from earlier. I might have looked obedient, but inside I was a chaos of nerves and heat. Seeing he couldn't sway me, Huxley tried again. Fine. What about skipping PE for bubble tea? Mr. Anderson is on duty today. He won't catch us. My heart leapt. The temptation was unbearable. But at that exact moment, Ryan closed his book and spoke calmly. Emma, during PE, we'll review physics. Huxley exploded. Ryan Miller, who gave you the right to steal Emma's freedom to drink bubble tea? Ryan looked up slowly, his voice steady and terrifying. The fact that she only scored 78 in physics last time. Direct hit. Huxley reeled, clutching his chest like he had been shot. Before he could retort, the PE teacher burst into the room shouting, Fitness test. Boys 1,000 meters, girls 800. The entire class groaned like they had been sentenced to death. I, on the other hand, nearly wept with joy. A running test meant no tutoring. Surely even Ryan couldn't make me study after that. But he only smiled, eyes glinting like a prophet of doom. When you're finished running, we'll review your mistakes again. Was Ryan even human? After running the 800 meters, I collapsed on the grass like a half-dead dog, gasping for air. Huxley Wang crouched beside me and shoved a cold bottle of Coke into my hand. Here, Emma, replenish your energy. I was just about to grab it when a long, pale hand swooped in and snatched the bottle away. Ryan Miller had appeared at my side without a sound, his face perfectly blank. You shouldn't drink something cold after strenuous exercise, he said evenly, placing a room-temperature bottle of water into my hand instead. Huxley's jaw dropped. "Ryan Miller, don't you think you're overstepping?" Ryan ignored him completely. His gaze focused solely on me. "Bring your mistake notebook to lunch," he said. "We need to review." Huxley stomped his foot. "Emma, look, I just bought a new bike. Let's take it for a spin." Before I could answer, Ryan's hand wrapped firmly around my wrist. "She's not free." Huxley's eyes bulged. "Who are you to decide that I am?" Ryan replied calmly. Huxley was left sputtering as Ryan tugged me away. Behind us, his dramatic cry echoed through the field. "Emma, you've abandoned our friendship for a man." I grumbled under my breath, dragged back to the classroom. Ryan Miller was worse than my father, controlling, relentless, obsessed with studying. I wanted bubble tea, not another round of problem sets. What right did he have to dictate my life like this? But once we returned, Ryan silently released my wrist, pulled a notebook from his bag, and handed it to me. "Analysis of your mistakes," he said simply. I flipped it open and froze. Every error was marked in red ink with detailed explanations and extra problems attached for practice. My chest tightened. "When did you even—" He adjusted his glasses lightly. "Last night," which meant he had stayed up preparing this for me. Suddenly, my earlier irritation melted away. My throat tightened. You didn't have to." He reached out and gently patted my head. "That's enough for today." I blinked. "Wait, we're not doing more." His lips twitched. "Do you want to—" "Of course not," I blurted, my face flaming. He chuckled softer than usual. "Didn't you want bubble tea? Let's go." For once, Ryan Miller didn't seem so impossible. When the results of the second placement exam came out, my hands shook as I read the number on the board, 602. I had broken 600, on my own, no cheating, no copying, just me. Mr. Anderson nearly lost his mind. Emma Carter. From 480 to 602, this is the miracle of honors. His voice rang like a lottery winner's announcement. The class turned to stare at me as if I'd ascended into sainthood. A bottom feeder transformed into a contender. I could feel my chest swell with pride. For the first time, I thought maybe I wasn't hopeless after all. 985. The dream schools. I never dared to imagine suddenly seemed within reach. I turned toward Ryan, unable to hide my triumphant grin. "I really am smart, right?" He nodded. "You've always been intelligent." My heart soared until he added, "Just lazy with poor self-control and a short attention span." "Shut up!" I snapped, my mood crashing instantly. He laughed quietly at my expression. He continued, voice gentler, "You can be even better. Your foundation isn't weak. You just lacked focus before. But you learn fast, Emma. If you push yourself for another 2 months," I cut him off. Hesitating. "You really think so?" "You don't think I'm stupid?" His answer came without hesitation. "You're smarter than most." For some reason, my nose stung, my eyes prickling. The truth was, I had never been truly bad at studying. It was just that whenever Ryan Miller was around, his brilliance made me feel like a shadow. Skipping class, playing games, it had all been fun, but Ryan was right. That was the comfort zone of the unserious. This was different. His finger tapped against the bold red number 602 printed on my paper. 2 more months of hard work, he said steadily, and you'll realize your limits are far beyond this. I lifted my head to meet his gaze. His calm certainty held me in place. For the first time, I dared to wonder, could I really make it into a top university? The corners of Ryan Miller's lips lifted as he gave a small nod. Top of the Ivy League. My entire body jolted like someone had injected pure adrenaline into my veins. Just the thought of it sent fire racing through me. Me, Emma Carter, standing in front of Stanford, Harvard, Berkeley, a brilliant, beautiful prodigy destined to shine. In my daydream, my parents held up a family register and declared proudly, "Reserve a golden page for our daughter alone." Perfect. It was time to fight with everything I had. The dismissal bell rang, and as usual, Huxley Wang rushed over. "Emma, let's hop on the new game server." I bought the expansion pack. I didn't even bother looking up. No time. Before college entrance exams, I reject all entertainment. "I even scored concert tickets for your idol," he pleaded. I turned another page. From now until exams, my only idol is 5 years of tests, 3 years of exercises. Huxley staggered as if struck by lightning. "What the hell has possessed you?" I gave him the look of a stern political instructor disciplining a wayward student. Huxley, only 2 months left before the SATs. He stared at me in disbelief. Just then, Ryan silently set a cup of warm ginger tea on my desk. "Drink. I'm busy with this problem," I muttered, eyes on the page. Without a word, he unwrapped a straw, pressed it into the cup, and held it to my lips. "Does your stomach still hurt?" he asked softly. Reflexively, I sipped. 2 gulps later, reality hit. I was being hand-fed like a toddler. Huxley's face twisted as if he'd swallowed an entire lemon. After a long pause, he dragged Ryan's chair over and plopped down beside us. "Fine. I'll study with you two. I want to learn too." The sun must have risen in the west because suddenly the 3 of us sat in a row, textbooks open. Ryan explained calmly. Huxley shot his hand up like an overeager grade schooler. "This one I know. This one, the answer is D." Ryan glanced at him coolly. "It's B." "Why?" Huxley challenged. "You wouldn't understand," Ryan said flatly, moving on without another word. For some reason, today's problems seemed harder than usual. I stumbled on 4 in a row. Each time Ryan's eyes bore into me, I felt stripped bare, and all I could do was raise my hands in surrender. Let's just skip it." "Okay," I whispered desperately. "Skip what?" Huxley asked, confused. The silence that followed was damning. He scowled. "You two are freezing me out." After class, we packed up. Ryan and I walked ahead. Huxley trailing and whining. "Emma hot pot tomorrow after school." "Okay." Before I could answer, Ryan seized my wrist, his voice calm as ever. "Not convenient. Goodbye," I quickly added. "This weekend." "Huxley, I promise." Grinding his teeth, Huxley stormed off. I watched his retreating back with a sigh. He's actually a good guy. Just a little loud sometimes. I didn't finish before Ryan yanked me into a dark corner of the hallway. One arm braced against the wall, caging me in. His breath brushed my ear. "Ryan, what are you doing?" I stammered. "You missed 4 today," he murmured, voice low and dangerous. "My mom's waiting for me at home," I babbled, pushing lightly against his chest. His smile curved, tinged with mischief. "Then let's trade. 1 kiss to erase 4 mistakes." My brain spun. 1 kiss for 4. That was a bargain, face blazing. I rose on tiptoe and pressed a quick peck against his cheek. There, done, but Ryan only smiled wider. I never said where. My knees nearly gave out. Under the dim corridor light, my face burned so hot it could fry an egg. I didn't even notice the shadow in the distance, someone clenching their fists in barely contained rage. On Monday, Mr. Anderson was in high spirits dissecting the latest scores on the board. Suddenly, Huxley slammed his desk and shot to his feet. "Sir, I want to report something. I suspect Emma Carter and Ryan Miller are dating, disrupting the sanctity of academic life. This cannot be tolerated." The classroom fell into stunned silence. "Oh, this scandal is huge." The words rippled through the classroom like a line from some palace drama. Mr. Anderson turned to Ryan Miller. "Is it true, Ryan? Speak up." Ryan's face didn't flicker. "Yes." The room exploded. My ears rang. Did I hear that right? The untouchable academic god had just admitted it. Wasn't he the same one who once declared he wouldn't date anyone below a 700 score? Had he lowered his standards? This was the biggest drama of the year, the iceberg of Roosevelt High, felled by the girl who used to sit at the very bottom. Mr. Anderson froze for 3 seconds, then slapped his thigh. No wonder Emma improved so fast. "It's the power of love," I gaped. That was not the reaction I expected. Sir Huxley Wang blurted, his face red. "Dating early is against the rules." Mr. Anderson snorted. "Ryan Miller already has a guaranteed path to Stanford. Emma's an adult. What's it to you, the last-ranked student?" And honestly, if love boosts someone's score by 100 points, I wish this entire class would fall in love. "1 strike, and you, Huxley," he continued, "instead of studying, you spend your days gossiping about who's dating who. 2 strikes." The class was roaring with laughter. Mr. Anderson wasn't done. "Your parents' money might buy you a spot in this class, but in college and in life, keep this up and you'll burn through your family's fortune in no time." Huxley wilted. "Sir, I was wrong. Good. Learn from your deskmate." Mr. Anderson said, pointing to the quiet boy next to Huxley. "Despite being hearing impaired, he scored 680. What's your excuse?" Huxley's jaw dropped. "But he doesn't even talk." "Exactly. Unlike you." The class erupted again. When the bell rang, Huxley clung to my sleeve like a jilted spouse. "Unbelievable, Emma. You used to complain about Ryan's cold, arrogant act. I even badmouthed him for you. And now you're sneaking kisses behind my back." Guilt pricked me. "It's not what you think. I just needed tutoring." "Tutoring?" he spat bitterly. "So he lifts you up while I drag you down. That's it, isn't it?" His voice cracked with wounded pride. I tried to soothe him. "Just wait until exams are over. Then I'll grind ranks with you all night, I swear." "And Ryan," he demanded. The words slipped out before I could stop them. "After exams, we'll break up." A chill slid down my spine. I turned slowly. Ryan Miller stood behind me. Huxley's expression morphed instantly into a grin, his voice dripping with mockery. "Oh, guess I'll hang on 2 more months then. Someone's golden age is about to end." He stalked off, muttering under his breath. But his downfall came sooner than he thought. Mr. Anderson switched seats, pairing him with the hearing-impaired top scorer. Every day turned into comedy hour. "Hey, bro, can we gossip a bit?" "Silence. This problem." "No clue. Give me a hint." No more silence. Finally, scraps of paper with worked solutions slid onto his desk. From a distance, I couldn't help smiling. It was absurdly cute watching Huxley transform from loudmouth clown to humbled partner. But Ryan's shadow loomed over me again, his voice sharp. "This one's wrong. After school. Don't run." I'd realized by now that the difficulty of his practice sets matched his moods. Today's was brutal. By the end, I was slumped over my desk, lips raw from too many penalties. "Ryan Miller," I panted, "you're doing this on purpose." He trapped me between desk and chair, his breath hot against my skin. "From now on," he said firmly, "don't look at him anymore." I swallowed hard. "Or at Huxley." His jaw tightened. "Huxley and your new deskmate, too." I swore I only ever fangirled over side couples in TV dramas, never the main act. Yet here I was, muttering threats like a heroine in a palace intrigue. "Watch me, Ryan Miller. After the next exam, I'll dump you first." But when the scores came out, all my bravado evaporated. 652, me, Emma Carter. I stood frozen, the numbers glowing on the board like a miracle. Mr. Anderson slapped my back so hard, I nearly toppled forward. "Outstanding Emma top schools are within reach. Stanford, Harvard, Berkeley. All within your grasp." My cheeks burned. He turned to Ryan, who sat quietly with his usual composure, a neat 720 scrawled beside his name. "Perfect. You two can march into the Ivy League hand in hand." A match made in heaven. The class roared with excitement. My whole body tingled like I'd been possessed by the spirit of a study god. Before Ryan had to drag me to the desk, now I was the one slamming my palm down, barking orders. "Explain this problem, right now." Ryan glanced at the clock. "It's late. Tomorrow." Now I threatened, narrowing my eyes. "Or else you won't live to see tomorrow." He raised a brow. "Is this supposed to be motivation or blackmail?" For once, the roles were reversed. And oh, how sweet it felt. With only a month until the SATs, I studied like someone possessed. Practice test after practice test. Scores climbing so fast it scared me. For the first time in 18 years, I felt like I truly had academic power of my own. And yet doubt gnawed at me. What if I bombed the real thing? What if all of this, every late night, every forced kiss, every ounce of sweat amounted to nothing? One evening, as I sat biting my nails, Ryan peered outside my house holding a thick folder. Inside were every test I had taken, each mistake carefully annotated. Notes in red ink marked, concept grasped, 80%. Careless calculation. Similar problem mastered. "You compiled all this?" I asked, stunned. He reached out and patted my head gently. "With your level now, you'll do fine. Don't stress so much." My throat tightened. "Ryan, why did you give up your guaranteed Stanford admission just to take the SAT with the rest of us?" His lips curved under the moonlight. "Because I want to walk into the exam hall with you." My heart slammed against my ribs. This was not good. Absolutely not good. On the last day of the SATs, I floated out of the exam hall as if my feet weren't touching the ground. The moment I saw him, I couldn't stop myself. I launched forward, wrapping him in a hug. I think I did okay. I laughed breathlessly. By the way, what did you get for the last math question? He opened his mouth, but I clapped my hand over it. Don't. I don't want to know. If I messed it up, I'll cry. That night, our class partied like bees freed from a hive. I drank more than I should have. Warmth surged through me, loosening every inhibition. Emboldened, I grabbed Ryan by the collar, my voice loud and reckless. You've stolen kisses from me countless times. Tonight, it's my turn. His eyes widened as I tugged at his shirt. Emma, you're drunk. I'm not. I argued stubbornly. I want to see your abs. The tips of his ears turned scarlet. No. Why not? I shot back, full of misplaced righteousness. You'll regret it. I won't. I insisted, my hand slipping toward his waist. His Adam's apple bobbed as he caught my wrist. Emma, please, behave. I shook my head, relentless. Just one look. I've never seen the real thing before. Ryan was silent for a long moment, then sighed in defeat. At last, he lifted his shirt. I froze. My brain short-circuited. This was nothing like the chiseled fantasies from TV. My hand recoiled as if burned. But before I could pull away completely, his fingers closed around mine. No running, he murmured. Minutes later, everything was a blur. Heat chaos, my drunken boldness colliding with his restraint, until even that restraint began to crack. When I finally sobered, horror crashed down. Oh my God, what did I just do? The next morning, I sat like a statue at the breakfast table. My mom eyed me suspiciously. Why are you staring at your hands like that? My mouth went dry. I couldn't answer. These hands of mine, they were no longer innocent. Every time I looked at them, flashes of that drunken night came roaring back, and shame nearly swallowed me whole. From that day forward, whenever I saw Ryan Miller, I ducked away like a criminal hiding from the law. Then came the day college entrance scores were released. My heart nearly burst when I saw it 685. Me, Emma Carter. My parents nearly fainted from joy. But the celebration didn't last long. Word spread quickly. Ryan had scored 725. Admissions officers from Harvard and Stanford were practically camping on his doorstep. Mr. Anderson called to congratulate me. Emma, excellent performance. You're only a few points shy of Stanford or Harvard. You've all but secured a spot at a top-tier university. A few points away, just a few points between me and a dream school. But instead of pride, a strange emptiness hollowed me out. The neighbors buzzed with gossip. That Miller boy, what a genius. 725 Harvard and Stanford fighting over him. The Carter girl did okay too. But compared to him, not quite. My father forced a thin smile. She did well enough. Their words stabbed like little needles. Just then, Ryan himself appeared at my door, calm as ever. Emma, he asked, do you prefer Harvard or Stanford? My chest burned. He'd come to show off. To rub it in? I prefer State College, I snapped. Ryan Miller, we're done. He blinked, then chuckled. Are you sure? Of course I'm sure. Whoever regrets it is a dog. All right then, he said lightly. Funny thing, the admissions officers from Harvard and Stanford told me they'd extend a joint offer. To my girlfriend, too. I froze. What did you say? They'll take you as a package deal. My brain short-circuited. Package deal I could get into the Ivy League. Because I was his girlfriend. But hadn't I just broken up with him 3 seconds ago? Woof, I muttered under my breath. When Huxley Wang heard, he nearly exploded. Emma, didn't you say you'd dump him after the exams? I shrugged shamelessly. Well, he can get me into Harvard. We can always break up later. Right? But we didn't. 3 years later on the campus of Harvard, I ran into Huxley again. Now a washed-up C-list celebrity hiding from paparazzi. What are you doing here? I asked. Looking for you. Of course, he said, eyes darting nervously. I narrowed my gaze. Sure you are. More like snooping for gossip. His stare shifted past me, landing on Ryan, who walked over with his usual composure. Oh, so you two are still together, Huxley muttered. I scratched my head sheepishly. Well, Ryan listed me as the lead author on his research project. Thanks to that, I got straight into grad school. 3 years later, Huxley cornered me again. Now will you finally break up? I laughed. Can't. My thesis data's a mess. Ryan has to fix it for me. Another 3 years passed. Huxley shouted in despair. Emma, enough. Break up already. I smiled sweetly. Ryan says once you're married, it's only natural to help arrange jobs for your spouse's friends and family. Wait, married. You two, that night curled against Ryan's chest. I whispered my insecurities. Honey, some people say I only made it this far because of you. That I'm just riding your coattails. He pinched my cheek gently, his voice warm. Men who say that are simply not strong enough to lift their own wives. Women who say that are jealous they don't have a husband who can. Marriage means sharing everything, your struggles, your victories. It's fair, it's right, it's love. My lips curved into a smile as his mouth pressed against mine, his voice low and husky in my ear. So Emma Carter, still planning to break up with me someday? I laughed through happy tears. Never. This golden thigh I'm holding on for life. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next videos.